And welcome. Today is Wednesday, June 24th. It is 7 a.m. High school, and this is the final regular meeting of the 2025-2026 term of this Mililani Neighborhood Board. I'd like to invite everyone to please stand if you are able so that we can recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance of the United States of America and to the Republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yay! Hybrid meeting, therefore, we have people here in the audience in person as well as attending online. Friendly reminder to all of our participants and board members, please raise your hand and recognize you to speak. And we can proper decorum throughout this meeting. At this time, I'd like to recognize our neighborhood assistant that he can provide roll call and we can establish quorum. Thank you.
When I call your name, please respond. Carmody. Flores. Freed.
Here.
Gustafson. Inouye.
Here.
Ka'anehe.
Is it online?
Okay, thank you. Ka'apana Aki.
Present online.
Thank you. Kim. Thank you. Kennard.
Present online.
Thank you. Kupu Ka'a. Kupu Ka'a. Sasha. Not here. Marilyn.
Here.
Thank you. Nagamine.
Here.
Thank you. Alex. Alex is not here. Catherine.
Here.
Thank you. Rodney.
Present online.
Thank you. Rudy. Rudy is not here. Skylar.
Here.
Thank you. Martina.
Present online.
Thank you. Mary. Mary is absent.
I see Mary present online.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Emil.
Present.
And
Present online.
thank you. All right. You guys have 17 people present. You guys have quorum.
And thank you, Braxton. Braxton is our new neighborhood assistant. I believe we made this announcement at last meeting. So welcome, Braxton, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you so much. Okay, next up, we have Honolulu Fire Department here, and they have we good to go?
Yeah, I see you.
Good to go? Please continue.
Continue or me start over?
Can you please start again?
You can start over. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm firefighter Del Toro from the Mililani Fire Station, and I'll be reading our stats for the month of May. In May, we had one structure fire, one brush fire, one nuisance fire, which is a rubbish fire outside of a structure or vehicle, one cooking fire, and 4 activated alarms with no fires. We also had 65 medical alarms and 2 motor vehicle collisions or crashes. Our safety tip for the month involves hurricane season. Hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th in Hawaii. As we enter into the season, it's time to check your kit, refresh your supplies, and ensure everyone in your family knows your plan. Please /DEM to learn about the risks and hazards, how to prepare, and what to do in the event a hurricane threatens our islands. There are 4 tips. Please build your 14-day disaster supply kit to include everything your household would need to survive for 2 weeks without utilities or access to outside supplies. Number 2, check your insurance policies to determine what, if any, hurricane-related damage is covered by your policy. Standard homeowner and renter's insurance do not include hurricane or flood coverage. 3, get appropriate supplies to protect your windows. They need to be sized for your windows well in advance of a storm. And 4, sign up to get storm alerts direct to your phone at hnlalert.gov. Does anyone have any questions for us?
Thank you so much. Members of the board, members of the audience, are there any questions? Please raise your hand. Not seeing any online. We're experiencing a little bit of delay. No questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Honolulu Police Department. Come on down. Get ready for questions.
Good. No. Good evening, everyone. Lieutenant Romel Baisa with the Honolulu Police Department, Waihoa Police Station. We cover Mililani-Waipi'o-Melemanu, and Haleiwa, Mokuleia. Reporting for the last 30 days for your area. We had 0 assault cases, 3 burglary cases, 0 robberies, 2 car break-ins. We had about 747 calls for service, 294 parking citations, about 500 traffic infractions, 63 traffic crimes, 40 criminal citations. We made about 57 arrests with 69 charges. We also issued 114 traffic citation warnings. The safety tip for the month is be aware of in-person, phone and online scams and fraudulent schemes. Make sure you guys secure your accounts. Ignore unsolicited calls or links, and beware of high pressure tactics, especially those that have urgencies such as pay immediately or your account will be closed or that you'll be arrested. Educate yourselves and your loved ones, especially the elderly. And then announcement, there's a Coffee with a Cop. That's going to be this coming Friday, June 26th from 10 to noon at Kane Street Cafe, 140 North Kane Street in Waiho.
Thank you so much. Members of
you.
the board, members of the public, please raise your hands if you have any questions for HPD. Yes, sir. Please walk up to the public microphone, state your name for the record, address your question to the board, and HPD will make their response following your question.
Okay, my name's Robert. I was the one that lived on the street that had the shooting at the rec center 4. Glad it's kind of peaceful, but that house that was down there, they had action for like 3 years because of the young kids. Yeah. The other part, the rec center up there. I wish they would close the gates because sometimes I see it open, and people like to go over there. When I come home late at night at my job, I see whoever's on the street, they like go drinking and they use that restroom. So if they kind of close the gate, because sometimes I see it open and I see the lights on. And then also, I don't know, homeless go over there too. So I don't know what's the reason with that. But it's just that that street over there always have action that is right next to the park, that is right next to the restroom over there late at night. I don't know what's the deal with that. So I don't know. But that's all I can say. But at least the street is safe. But it was terrible with all those kids doing that, all that action. I hope it stays quiet because it was a quiet street. Yeah. And then not only that, a couple houses above my house, I think was a drug addict house, so I glad they left too. But when they left, they had the car over there, and then I had to go rec center 3 and say, you know what, this car is sitting on the street, it shouldn't even be sitting there. But at least they took fast action and they took that car that was abandoned away from there, you know. So hope Mililani stays good, like when they had recognized at 1986, when Mililani was recognized as the best town. So I remember that 1986,
Yes.
and they better stay the best town. That's all I can say.
Robert, hang back. Did you have a question for HPD on that one? I mean, thank you for sharing that. And a lot of us, many of us have concerns to your street, especially over in the Makapipi area. It is very
Yeah.
quiet. So did you have a question for HPD?
Well, because that was a problem. That was like a
Yeah.
kind of like a police kind of thing I wanted to mention. Yeah. So,
Lieutenant, would you like
yeah.
to respond?
Thank you. Yeah, obviously I cannot talk about the investigation. However, the closure for the park, I don't think we have a closure for the park. The restroom itself is wide open. But as far as the rec center itself, that's something that Mililani Town Association can address.
In terms of the Rec Center 4, is it just a quick follow-up to you, Robert? Did you contact the Mililani Town Association regarding that issue of the gate at Rec Center 4? No. Okay. Okay. Okay, I would recommend, okay, this isn't the MTA, this is the Mililani Neighborhood Board. So it would be helpful if you could contact them. We can also relay that you came here and you expressed your concerns about Rec Center 4. So we can help relay that as well, but I would encourage you to contact them as well for Rec Center 4. Yeah.
Chair,
Yes.
that's not Rec Center 4. That's City and County Parks. He's talking about the park next to Rec Center 4 that has the bathroom open all hours of the night.
And the parking lot there at Rec Center 4, I believe you mentioned.
No parking lot at Rec Center 4.
If
The
I may,
parking lot is in front of the restrooms.
Okay.
right, but there's no gate for that park.
Right, there's
The
no
park is open.
gate
So I
for
think
the-
the gate you're talking about to close is which one?
The restrooms
Robert,
have
come
doors.
Back up.
gate.
We need it on the record since we got folks online.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they're not doors on the
Oh.
restrooms that can be locked. And other parks have them as well, and they are locked, I think, after evenings. But at Rec 4, like what he's talking about, the park next to it, those gates are never locked. So
Thanks.
it's a city and county park issue.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
I'll report
Robert,
that.
can you clarify that just so that we all are on the same page? Thank you, Sabrina, for bringing that up.
Okay, so yeah, that restroom, yeah, it's City Parks, is right next to the rec center. That one is either the light is on or the light is off, but I do see a gate. But I wish somebody at least would lock the gate because, like I said, it has action on that street. People would drink and they're going to use the restroom. So if they would lock the gate, then maybe nobody would, I don't know if nobody would come there, but it's just an activity street. People just like to hang out and it's dark. Maybe they should put a light over there and make it bright and then they would change their mind not to hang out over there, yeah? So, because when I come home late from my job, I see whoever's hanging out there, maybe the homeless there. I mean, it's whatever's, you know, but like I said, Mililani, 1986 is a good town. Let's leave it a good town since 1986.
Mahalo, Robert. Okay, any other questions for HPD? We're gonna move on.
No.
Question for HPD?
No, I've had my question answered.
Okay, we're gonna continue with questions for HPD. Hang tight. I think there's some more. Anyone else, please raise your hand so I can recognize you.
Okay, can you see me, Danielle?
Oh, yes, please go ahead, Anne. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do the stupid format we're forced to follow in the what is. So I just for HPD, I'm not sure that you're aware of this, but it's not just emails. And so I'll put it in the what is Home Shield USA. We get chronic letters, hard copy letters in the mail. This is a scam aimed at people my age. So if you get one of these, they say they're a home warranty. They'll say your account is going to be closed. And some of you actually open it. I never opened an account. So I automatically know this is a scam. But watch out. They'll take your money and do nothing for you. That's it.
Any response?
Thank you.
Uh, Lieutenant, could you explain what you can about the raid? First off, mahalo for
About the which one?
participation. I believe it was an FBI, it was a joint federal and state. I think there was some HPD presence of a drug raid in Mililani. And of course, it's an ongoing investigation, but could you share anything that you can to help our community and our board feel safe after that incident? I mean, there was some concerns that we did receive in terms of, there was a lot of media attention, and, we did reach out to law enforcement where they said that after the raid was conducted, the area was safe and secure. So is there any way you can elaborate on that for the community?
The short answer is I cannot say.
Yep.
When they do joint operations with the federal government, federal law enforcement, they do not notify the patrol officers for obvious reasons. They don't want anything to leak and stuff like that. So we do have in HPD a separate unit that joins them in those raids. So it's not the patrol officers, not the ones that we that patrol our regular streets. So yeah, they don't let us know
Okay, that's fine.
in advance anyway.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Understandable. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any additional questions? Dennis, go ahead.
This is way off base, but last time an officer shot a chicken with a gaff. How did he get a BB gun?
I'm not sure if that's public record. However, off the record, I was told that it belonged to one of the neighbors. The
Oh.
neighbor actually wanted to.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Just for a point of clarification, it is public record. You did follow up to us after. and I
Lieutenant
read
Vieira
that
did. Yes, you're right.
For the
you're right.
record to enlighten, I mean, there was some curiosity about the chicken incident.
And to clarify, if it's a criminal offense, there are some parts that are confidential. If it's a miscellaneous public case, that's when it becomes public record. Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
No questions, members of the audience, members of the board. Please raise your hand. Catherine, go ahead.
There were a couple of accidents in Mililani. One was a fatality. I didn't see anything in the newspaper.
When was this?
The beginning of the month. I think close to the shopping center where there's Safeway.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not familiar with that one.
And because it was a senior citizen,
Mhm.
I'm so,
Sure. There are times when we have accidents, the person goes in critical condition and they later pass. We don't necessarily, again, get notified for stuff like that. We find out what you find out on the news. Yeah. However, if there's a fatality that happened in the district at that time, and during the time of the accident, the person passed, there's usually a log that we read. I don't remember seeing that. If I did, maybe I just forgot about it. I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm very mindful of people, how they
course.
drive.
Sure.
Even last night, I was going to enter Mehiula Parkway, and this car ran the red light.
Mm.
Okay, I see we have one last question. I see board member Karumi online has her hand up. Go ahead, Karumi.
Good evening. My question or my concern of the question is what are we doing about cars that are racing up and down Mehiula early morning and in late evening? Is the police department doing anything about that? Even to a point where is anyone considering the laws regarding modifying of vehicles that have to go through safety checks or something to that effect, where I know before, even with a noisy muffler, they got cited. Or if you can see that their car has been physically modified, are we doing something to that effect?
Yes, so we actually get those calls usually on the weekends as far as the racing. We do send officers as long as we get the calls. We do have officers that also, as they're patrolling, they observe these vehicles. The problem with racing is we have to observe the actual racing for us to be able to stop somebody or issue a citation. So a lot of times when we see a group of cars that look like they're posing to race, we want to try to deter that or try to chase them off the district or try to disperse them. As far as the modifications to the cars, we do have laws against certain modifications. There are recon laws. Also, when safety check is done, that the safety check stations are the ones that catch those.
Okay, seeing no other questions, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good night.
Good night. Okay, next up, we have Captain Katie Cole representing the United States Army Combat Aviation Brigade 25th ID. She is online. Hello, Captain.
Hello, good evening. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. I'll start off with the June training advisory for what's left of the month. So predominantly for the 23rd to the 28th of June and the 30th of June, there are going to be Ranger and Jungle tactics with small arms blank fire in the East Range area. There's going to be aviation training from 23 to 27 June during the day only. Those hours are 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then on Schofield Barracks from 23 to 25 and 28 to 30 June, there will be artillery, mortar, and demolitions training to include both day and night live fire, extending into the early morning and late evening hours. As always, we appreciate your understanding and your patience. For any questions, we urge you all to contact the Community Concern Line. The number for that is 808-787-1528. And then if you are interested in joining the training advisory list, you can email usag.hawaii.comrel, that's COMREL @army.mil. And then the next training advisory for July should be published probably by the end of next week if you are registered on that list. The only other note that I have is in regards to Oahu's final EIS. So in accordance with the National Environmental Policy Act and the Hawaii Environmental Policy Act, the Army has published a final environmental impact statement, FEIS, for Army training land retention of state lands at Kahuku Training Area, KTA, Kauai Po'amoho Training Area, and Makua Military Reservation, MMR. A notice of availability has also been published in the Federal Register to announce the availability of the EIS in the State Environmental Review Program's publication, the Environmental Notice. The proposed action is an administrative action that does not include construction, modernization, or changes in the ongoing training. For each of the 3 training areas, the EIS evaluates the potential direct, indirect, and cumulative impacts of a range of reasonable alternatives. These alternatives are 1, full retention, 2, modified retention, and 3, minimum retention. And 4, the no action alternative, under which the leases would lapse in 2029 and military use of the state-owned land at each training area would cease. The Army identified the modified retention alternative at Kahuku Training Area and the no action alternative at Po'amoho and Makua Military Reservation as the preferred alternatives. The waiting period for the final EIS will end 30 days after a publication of the Notice of Availability in the Federal Register by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, after which the Army will execute a record of decision. Sorry, that was a lot, but if there are any questions on any of that, I will open it up.
Thank you, Captain Cole. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for the U.S. Army tonight? Please raise your hand. Emil, go ahead.
Thank you for coming today. I just wondering, I mean, it has been a nice tradition before COVID that the general usually invited the members of the legislature or even neighborhood board members to his mansion in Schofield Barracks. I mean, is that going to be resumed? I mean, we have 250th anniversary of beginning of this country, and usually it was Christmas or 4th of July. That's all.
Just to clarify, your question is for the upcoming festivities for the 4th of July, if the base access and festivities will be open to the general public. Is that the question?
It wasn't necessarily general public. It was more like I met legislators there.
Like community leaders and
Members
things
of
like
the-
this.
Members
I
of
see.
the neighborhood board was there.
Of
So
course.
it wasn't general public. It was
Sure.
more.
I understand what you're saying now. I can actually follow up with U.S. Army Garrison and see what the plans are to, I'm not sure, how they distribute those invitations. However, I'm sure that they would love the local community leader support as, in those endeavors. So I'll follow up with them and see what the plan is to invite local legislature and things like that.
Thank you, Captain Kolb. Another question we got from Dennis. Go ahead, and followed by Sabrina.
Yes, I noticed at Schofield Barracks, several Canadian soldiers and other soldiers from other countries. Is there an multinational exercise going on? I saw 2 carriers at Pearl Harbor. I don't think it's RIMPAC time, is it?
It is.
It is. Oh, sorry.
So
Okay,
that, yeah, in terms of
we'll get another hat just for that.
in terms of the operation, that's exactly, you might see some, an increased presence of different countries' military service members and other just, more service members in general, especially in the Pearl Harbor area, as they conduct RIMPAC, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sabrina, go ahead.
Who do we contact if we have complaints regarding conduct of military personnel outside of the base?
Great question. I would definitely direct those concerns to the community concern line as well. So whether it be the email or the email, which was usag.hawaii.comral@army.mil, or the phone number 808-787-1528. And then I would just urge you to, try to gather as much detail as you can, right? For whatever the incident may have been, so that they can better adequately identify who the service member may have been and follow up on that incident.
Thank you. Any additional questions for the United States Army at this time? Please raise your hand. All right, seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much.
honey, me.
Oh,
Quick.
Anne, yes, I see you
Yeah.
just raised it. Go for it.
Quick. Yeah, okay, I just wanted to clarify something that Emil was saying for you, Captain Cole. And by the way, it seems like yesterday I was a captain. You look so young. We were invited to the commanding general's house, and he put on a spread for us, and that happened many, many years, and we were all very sad when that stopped.
I
So
see.
you might just bring that up with your command.
Sure, absolutely.
Thanks.
Can I ask what the like, was it for the 4th of July typically? Was it multiple times a year?
The 4th, yes, and 4th and Christmas.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I will follow up with you all on that. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Sure.
Anne used to be a PAO in the Army, so she's looking out for you, Captain Cole.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Anne.
All right, any final questions for U.S. Army tonight? You have one? Yeah, go. Oh, no. Okay. Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much. We're going to move on. Thank you, Captain Cole.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
I'd like to welcome Kathleen Pahinui from the Board of Water Supply. Come on down.
Aloha Board Chair, thank you so much. I'm happy to report there were no main breaks in your community in the past month. And many of you by now should have received your semi-annual water quality report, which we send out now twice a year per EPA federal mandates. And that just lets you know that your water is safe to drink and where it comes from. And if you have any questions regarding your water quality report, don't hesitate to call me at 808-748-5319. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Kathleen. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Board of Water Supply? Emil, go ahead.
Yes, I have exactly question about the water quality report we received. I wonder who is watching the watchman, who is checking the numbers are correct? Are you following the EPA regulation?
We have a whole division that does that.
Division.
Yeah.
So one thing which kind of interests me is if, because it's not part of the report, what is the percentage of the heavy water included in our drinking water? Because
I don't believe we look at that. And by
don't.
heavy water, you mean like,
deuterium, D2.
okay, I don't believe we look into that. As far as I know, we don't have such a thing in our water supply.
I mean, it's very harmful for our bodies, but I think the concentrations are not so high, but it's not part of the report. That's what I was wondering.
That's probably because we don't have it, but I'll check
But
on
can
it for you.
somebody measure? I mean, you have to know.
No, I'll go and ask and see if it's something, but we only report what we find in the water. So if we don't report it, it means it's not there, but I'll check and
You're
find
looking
out.
for contaminants, probably, but this is something which is part of every community, especially tropical
Yeah.
islands. They have higher concentrations, but unless it's 10%, I mean, it won't harm us, but it's harmful for the body.
Well, we do follow all federal and state standards. So if it's something we have to test for, we will test for it, but I can ask the question
Just check
and
to
find
see
out,
if- or if they
and
can
see,
find out
we
how
might
much-
know, but it's just something that we may not have to report. So let me check.
how
and I'll
much,
report
how
back.
much do we drink of that heavy water, which is
Okay.
definitely in the water, but it might not be significant amount, so it's not included definitely in this report. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Board of Water Supply tonight? Please raise your hand. Okay, seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much, Kathleen. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
next
See
month.
you guys next month. Hello.
Okay, Sherry Nakamura from the State School Facilities Authority has a well-deserved vacation right now. She'll be back at the July board meeting, which she has requested to bring their contractors, Pacific Housing, Pacific Housing, as well as some other planning firms to go over the EIS, the final EIS that was published with the state. So that they have their standing monthly report, but what we're going to do is we're going to, just like in past meetings, we're going to make that a presentation for July's meeting and arrange that. So heads up to board members that final EIS, as we discussed in the May meeting, was filed with the state. And please take a look at it. I believe that the link was distributed last month. Take a look. If you have any questions, that would be the time during that presentation to direct those questions to the SFA. Okay? All right. Moving on to presentations, I'd like to welcome one of our own, Dr. Roger Babcock, the Director of Honolulu's Department of Environmental Services. Welcome. Dr. Babcock is going to be providing us an update on the Central Oahu Regional Park temporary debris storage site from the recent Kona low storms earlier this year. Welcome.
Good evening, Chair Bass and board members. Roger Babcock, Department of Environmental Services. I brought a handout and I'm not sure, did it got all the way down? Okay, hopefully everybody got one. There's a lot more copies up here for the public. But additional information is on our website. On the back of this, it's our regular website, honolulu.gov/ENV, but also on the back of this, there's a QR code, which will take you directly to the site. The site has, before we go through this, I'll just mention what the site has on it. It has a bunch of photos and information about what we did there. It also has 3 different testing reports, baseline soil testing, post-closure soil testing, and a release response. It has several press releases. It also has our disaster debris management and operation plan, our DMOP, which is a previously adopted plan, which describes what we do when there's a disaster with debris. So please do look at that website, or I guess I would say extensive additional information that's available. So just to give an update of where we are, where we've been, and how we got where we are today. We did, following the Kona low storms, Kona low 2, in March, we needed to activate our disaster debris clearing and that we have. with two mainland firms. One is really a contractor who does debris removal and sorting and things like that, and one is an environmental contractor. So those folks were activated on March in March following the storm, and this site was opened up. There's photos on the front of what it looked like on March 28th, and then on April 27th, and a few other times there on the back. So the site was held debris for 18 days from March 23rd through April 9th. It was cleared on April 9th. But it is still not open yet. And but what we did there is debris from North Shore was brought there in trucks and piled up, and then it was sorted so that some material has to go to the landfill. Some material went to Hawaiian Earth Recycling to become compost. So essentially green waste went there. And then metals and things like that, tires and metals. Well, tires went to landfill, but metals, there's quite a bit of metal, and that went to our metal recycler, Triple R Metal Recycling. So that is basically what happened there at the site. And eventually it was cleared on April 9th. So after that, and then before that, sampling was done of the soil in the area, and then a report prepared for that, which is on the website, showing what was there. And then afterwards, the site was scraped, so you can see on April 27th, they removed a few inches of soil and disposed of that. That went to landfill. And then they had a sampling plan approved by Department of Health to sample the site at a whole bunch of locations. And again, that's in the details of that are in that report. There's 50 different sites, 50 different sample sites or so on there. And then those results were those samples were analyzed and compared to the pre-operation samples. That report found that there was one location, and again, it's in the report that you can see on the website. There was one location where there was some diesel fuel contamination. And it was not where the debris was, but it was adjacent to where the debris was, where we had set up temporary lights that run 24 hours a day with a diesel motor. And so there was a small spill from that. So that was detected in the follow-on sampling. And because of that, then that location was excavated further and that soil removed and then sampled again. So then we had to wait for those results to come back. They came back clean. So then the whole site was regraded, brought in fresh soil to make it all level to where it was before, back up to its the proper level. And then it was seeded. The irrigation system was replaced because it was torn up in the process. And then grass was seeded onto the property. And so you can see a photo from June 22nd on the back. It doesn't look too green, but if you look closely, you can see a little bit of green in there. So that's the seed that has been put in, and it is growing. It has to grow and take for at least 30 days. That's the contractor's obligation, and be acceptable before we sort of release them and say that they're done. This will be taken down and the site turned back over to Department of Parks and Recreation. On this handout, it does give a list of all the things that are sampled for in the testing, and those are all required by regulation from the Department of Health. And so everything that needs to be analyzed for was. And again, the results of all samples, so numerical results and everything, are on the web page. All the reports, they come from a company called Enviro Services. And so it also has a sampling plan, has photos of where they took samples and how many and all that kind of stuff. And it's all there for anybody to look at. So that's where we're at today. I guess everybody wants to know when. So we're anticipating that in August, it will be reopen that portion of the park. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Dr. Babcock. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Director Babcock in this presentation on Central Oahu Regional Park's debris site? Please raise your hand. Sir, please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record and provide your question.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Board. I'm Daniel Michael Gabriel. I spend a lot of hours in this park due to my son's baseball. And I talked to dozens of people in the community at the park asking about this dump site. Perhaps I'm a little ignorant on the issue, but was this a predetermined site through, say, like a disaster plan? One, that's my first question. Two, who signed off on this site? Because it seemed to kind of pop up overnight. And then three, there was also an issue with several of the baseball fields going dry, and I heard Mr. Babcock say here that the water lines were destroyed. So is that related to that destroyed water line? And then four, once the site becomes active again, say someone gets sick in that area, what is the type of recourse that they can take? Thank you, I yield.
Yeah, so thanks for the questions. I didn't get my pen out quick enough to write them all down, but that's okay. Chair Bass will help me. So I'll start with the last one because that's the one I remember for sure. What would be the recourse if people get sick? I think what you would do is if you felt you got sick from being at the park, you would contact the State Department of Health, and they could assist you and I guess try to figure out what the cause of that is. One of the questions was about the site and its whether it's was predetermined. As I mentioned on the website, we have something called our Disaster Debris Management and Operation Plan, which is adopted actually in April of last year, is the latest version, which is on the website. And in there, it identifies all of the disaster debris sites that are predetermined for such an event. So when we need to use such sites for temporary debris storage and sorting. So it's actually really a much bigger planning document, and it's really centered around a Category 4 hurricane directly hitting the island and impacting the entire island. So it breaks the island up into 4 different regions with debris management sites in all 4 regions. So you can't just have one and haul from every corner of the island. So they're located all over. There's quite a large number of sites altogether, perhaps more than 25. But again, it's in the report, in the debris management plan. In this case, it was smaller, small-ish type event, a very serious event, of course, for those impacted. But compared to the larger planning event, it's small. So only one debris management site was needed, and it was chosen because it was a city site, so readily accessible to us on short notice, essentially getting permission from parks. Many of the other sites are city parks as well, but there are some sites that are military and some are private property. And so those were not activated. So that was our choice to use that site. It was how we decided that. And there was one more question.
I believe that was the water to the baseball
Oh, yeah, the water.
fields.
So sprinklers only affected in the immediate area of that section of the park. So the water lines directly under where the debris was, and sprinklers were there. So didn't impact the rest of the park. So I'm not sure why the rest of the park might have gotten dry. Or
That
certain
might be
areas.
something appropriate for DPR. Okay, additional questions for Director Babcock. Member Ross, followed by Members Furchina and Member Gustafson. Go ahead, Ross.
Mahalo for coming out. My question is really quick. So I understand that you're very concerned about the site but mine is the run up to the site because that was not addressed at all. To me, the sampling is great, but that run up to the site was never really addressed. That area was first kind of filled in with dirt because there used to be a grade there to allow the runoff from the water, and now there's no grade there for the water to continue running off the storm drain. It's further down where the Department of Park Recreation guys actually park all their trucks. So is that going to be regraded to allow the water to run off there, or is it going to stay at that height now that the vehicles can run in and out? Because that's going to be a major place where a lot of our soccer folks and people who use that area park. So is that going to be reseeded, or is that just going to be left there to allow people to park? Just because that's, I know where the vehicles are still going to be going in and out. And so I just want to, like, is that area also going to be done? Is that going to be, once that fenced area is going to be released, because I know the trucks are going to have to go in there to remove everything and stuff like that. Is that going to be after that in August, maybe late August or September? Is that when you guys are going to be taking care of that aspect? Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. It's a great question. And I believe that the correct answer is yes, it does have to be restored. And so I think you're right. I think it must not have been done yet for that reason. But yeah, it's a very good question. I didn't notice that, when I got, but so what he's talking about is essentially the entrance and exit that was used during the debris storage and sorting off of Cam Highway. So we wanted to do that because it was better and less disruptive to the park and suitable for heavy vehicles. So they did have to do some grading there to make that transition easy. So it's a drainage swale that runs along Cam Highway. So yes, that will be restored. That is required. Yeah. So thank you.
Okay, Member Spurgeon, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, you mentioned there was also some independent contractors involved. So I'm just wondering how much is the extra cost for the county taxpayers, and if those contractors are listed on your website.
Yeah, thank you. So there's two private contractors, and they have a long-term contract for disaster debris removal and remediation as part of a contract that's awarded every 5 years. And the current one, I'll have to check when it was awarded, but I think it's awarded several years ago. So it's getting close to the end. So it will be rebid. So it's rebid every 5 years. We ask do a request for proposals, and typically we get at least three proposals. So this consortium of two companies won the most recent contract, and it's called DRC Incorporated. And then one is in Tetra Tech is the environmental firm. So they work together to do the work. We haven't received all of the invoices yet for completing everything, but what we've received so far is about $2 million, I think. And then we anticipate another at least $1 million. So I think it's 3 million perhaps total. That information isn't really on any website or anything at this point. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good estimate of what that cost.
Thank you. And we have Member Gustafson for some more questions.
My first question is on early press releases and in reports, specifically Parks and Rec on March 28th was quoting 5,400 tons of debris, and yet your final report says 3,000. What happened to the other 2,500?
Yeah, thanks. The early press releases and information were rough estimates based on just visually looking at the piles. The final numbers, so when we wanted to be able to put out some information as we went along. The final numbers are when actual weights are determined. So weights are not determined at that site, so we don't have truck scales there. Truck scales are located at the disposal locations. So there's a truck scale at Waimanalo Gulch, there's a truck scale at Hawaiian Earth Recycling, and there's a truck scale at R Metal Recycling. So we know everything that left. So therefore, that's how much we received there. So none disappeared. It all went somewhere.
And then my next question was, again, I think all community members were surprised by this event. Is the department going to put out any sort of parameters on when this could happen again to the community? What event would take place in order for this to trigger use of the parks?
Yeah, thanks for that question. So I think that so we do have our disaster debris monitoring and operation, management and operation plan, DMOP. And so that sort of describes the scenario which is planned for. If there is a disaster of any type, I guess it could be a tsunami, it could be a wildfire, it could be a bad storm, or it could be a hurricane. I think the call is made at the time, depending on the severity of what's happening, and an assessment of how much debris there is. So, I mean, I personally made the call to activate the contract in March, based on going out to North Shore and seeing very, very large piles of debris piling up on the highway, and it was clearly something that we couldn't handle. And we also knew, and it was all mixed together, refrigerators in with pieces of house and all kinds of stuff showing up in this giant pile. And so we knew we wanted to sort that and not just take it all to the landfill. And we also, at that time, really didn't know how much more, what the total was going to be. So in that circumstance, we did activate the contract. This is the first time the contract's ever been activated. So I would say if there was a similar size event to that, or something bigger, it would be activated. Now, where we would take debris really would depend on where the damage occurred. If it happened again on North Shore, the same place, at the same event, another similar event like that, we probably would activate the same location again. It was successful. It worked well. Was in Kailua, then we would use a different site based on what's in the report, or if it was in East Honolulu, it would be a different location. So that decision process would be made, I think, at the time, depending on the circumstances and where the debris was being generated. If it was island wide, we would open up a whole bunch of debris centers all at the same time, according to the plan.
And then my last question was, it seems like a lot of the work, the mitigation part could have been saved if this contract with these vendors included prepping the site beforehand, like laying down material so that we didn't have to grade the ground. Is that something we're looking into for future contracts?
Yeah, so it's a good question. The nature of the work is my understanding is that there really isn't a good way, to do that, to put down some sort of a liner or something. The material is brought in large end dump trucks that are carrying 20 to 40 cubic yards of mixed material that could be wet, and it's got metal and things protruding out of it and all kinds of mixed waste that would, it would be difficult to put something down that would stand up to that. And the trucks are backing up, and you see the long rows of piles, and they're backing up and dumping, and the next one comes and they're dumping. And so the trucks would have to be able to handle truck traffic as well as once they start processing it, then they're essentially excavators and very large equipment on tracks, very heavy, sort of equipment. So it's going to tear up, it's going to tear up the ground. So I don't think there's really site preparation work that could be done. This is a contract that's very similar to contracts that are all over the US, especially in the South and Hurricane Alley. This company is actually from Louisiana or Alabama or something. And so they generally there isn't time, to do that one. And also there isn't really a good way to do that. There are very durable liners, for example, at our landfill, which a D8 bulldozer can drive on and very heavy equipment. But those are very specialized. They don't come together very quickly, and they're very expensive. They're welded together, they're melted together in strips and stuff like that. And we don't have we wouldn't have that kind of material on hand to be able to do such a thing for these kind of sites. So the cleanup, so what you do is you test before, and then you do cleanup until you've cleaned it up till it's until it's restored to what it was before. And then you try to, while you're doing the operation, you try to, they monitor what they're bringing in and try to, as much as possible, not bring things in that are going to spill or leak or stuff like that.
Okay, I see some further questions, one from Dennis and then Kate Ozawa. So go ahead, Dennis.
Okay, real quick question. I noticed in Weed Circle down in Wailua, piles of mud and dirt. Is that going to be sorted out, or do you have a place that it's going to go, or just leave it there for a period of time?
Yeah, so I don't know what the final plan is for that. So that mud has been removed from various locations on North Shore, cleared and brought there. That's a joint operation with our Department of Facility Maintenance and Hawaii Department of Transportation. It's state property, Hawaii DOT property. So they decided that's where they wanted to take that kind of material, as opposed to material that that was debris that could come to our site, to the ENV permitted site. So I believe that the intention would be that it would be dried out and then it would be reused in some way. So that could either be for city or state projects. We would take it at the landfill to use as daily cover. If it was dry, we can't take it as mud because it's, we can't put water, but we would take it if it was dry. So I think the intention is to dry it out and then reuse it for various projects, construction projects, city projects, state projects, at the landfill, et cetera. So I think that's going to take a while though, because when you look at it, it still looks kind of wet and it's big. So I think they'll probably, because I think they're still removing mud from some places, and that will probably continue for some time because there are farms that were impacted, and the city and the state together are helping the farmers still today. And it's a really big job. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be done very soon. But then eventually that will be cleared and restored, I would think.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Kate, go ahead.
This is not about that. I just wanted to say I'm doing the tour to trash tomorrow. I'm very excited. So yeah, but I didn't have a question. That's just it. Okay.
Yay, tour to trash. So there's 2 bus loads of people doing tour to trash. Just for everybody else, we do tour to trash at least a couple times a year. And those of you who have been on it would probably say, yay, it's a very interesting thing. You're going to visit the landfill, you're going to visit H Power, you're going to visit Hawaiian Earth Recycling, which is the composting, and also our metal recycler, our mix, where the blue carts go, the mixed recyclables and the metals are separated. You can find out information about that on our website if you're interested, or you can just call us and find out when the next one is. We don't do them all the time, but we do them at least a couple times a year. And when there's interest, we will make a tour. So
It's a real great program and it's free. So
It's
if
free,
you have
yes.
questions about where your waste goes, you can use this. You go to the city's website at Environmental Services and you can sign in. I did all of them. It's real fun. You get to learn, and you wear your covered shoes and maybe some jeans, and you might get some good smells while you're doing it. But good fun. See where your tax dollars are going. I'm sorry, sir. You have one final question. Please go ahead.
Daniel Gabriel again. I'm concerned. Is there any concern over the chemicals and trash and stuff that could seep into the water table in any area below this park? Thank you.
yeah, so thanks for that question. So yeah, that's why we do the testing before and after. So the soil was, so they dig down a little bit and then they take samples of the soil before and after. And that would indicate whether there had been any contamination. And so the samples came back uncontaminated, and that was reported to the Department of Health. And so the Department of Health said, okay, you're good. You can regrade and close up the site. So yeah.
Okay, I'm going to close the Q&A on this one. I want to, before you walk away, Dr. Babcock, I want to just remind the board in closing that first I want to thank you. I know that this was very controversial. I know that there was a lot of surprise from the Mililani-Waipi'o, Koa Ridge, Waikele communities. We got so many phone calls. I'm sure our elected officials got phone calls. And why I say thank you is, you actually answered with very quick response on this. A few of us have disaster management training here. I myself am included in that. And, you quickly set up this temporary disaster debris site in Central Oahu Regional Park on a Monday. We had our board meeting on Wednesday. And of course, we follow sunshine law, so we didn't have this on our agenda. And we called you to come down and quickly explain what's going on. And you did. So, between Monday with the disposal and Wednesday, Director Babcock, you were here. Your staff, the mayor's staff, was providing us with facts, frequently asked questions and whatnot. So that turnaround, I really want to just thank the city and county for that. We know that there was a lot of miscommunication. There was surprise, shock, confusion, concern. And I think especially in disaster management and waste management, it's really important that we have clear messaging. So, you were here and you came to our board and, we provided a lot of that concerns that from our community in Central Oahu. And I want to thank you as well that you listened to us in these concerns, right? When you were here on March 25th for our meeting, there was no dust fencing to provide privacy for that debris site. That was actually one of the takeaways from the conversation is, as Central Oahu residents are passing back and forth, right? You saw a lot of people kind of rubbernecking, right? Going, oh, what's going on over there? And I think that privacy line, the privacy fence actually helped. It gave dignity to the waste management and the disaster for our North Shore neighbors, as well as, it ensured public safety for park users as well as our drivers on Kamehameha Highway. One of the other things, you also provided the 24/7 security. I think that was a major concern our board shared. Many of our members of our board share that, so we thank you for that. And, I think, just like any emergency, just like any disaster, we have to work together, right? Government, community, and there are always going to be lessons learned. Another lesson that we shared as a suggestion from the board to the city is the use of portable digital traffic signage, right? In future events, those are, also variable message signs. So that's kind of when you're driving on the roads, right, you're going to see, a digital message board of a road closure or, pothole getting fixed, whatnot. And so we thought that that would be very helpful in future matters, especially I bring that up because, we're hearing messaging, we're in hurricane season, right? There's additional information that we're going to have 5 to 13 hurricanes. So who knows, what could happen to our community and our island here, in this hurricane season. It sounds quite scary with the 70% probability. So moving forward with the DD-MOP, the disaster debris management operational plan, although it's already published, maybe that's a lesson learned on digital signage to help community understand that, since you can't just quickly come to every single neighborhood board when there's that impact. But no, I just really wanted to recognize how quick the city did come to our neighborhood board. There was a lot of messaging and clarification I think the city needed to do, as well as the community. And I know so many of our board members and members of the audience were actually able to communicate a lot of this and share it out into the neighborhoods. And I've heard back where, the information you provided us, we gave that clarity to our neighbors and other community association groups. And those people were writing it down and sharing it. So you know what? It was a way where the messaging came out. And I think that, again, it was a lesson learned, but, looking forward, if there's future events, this could be a way we could, do this a little quicker and supportive of community. But thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. There was a lot of lessons learned, and appreciate the comments. And we will, hopefully there is no event, no future event, but it's, I guess, more or less somewhat inevitable. And that's why we have to be ready, and why we luckily we do have the plans, and we do have the the contracts in place to help us to get through these events quickly and efficiently. So happy to always keep you informed. Come anytime that's necessary. So
thank you so much, Director.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on to community concerns. At this time, is there any community member who would like to come forward to express any comment, concern within decorum on any events and concerns within the community that is not agendized on this meeting? Yes, ma'am, please identify yourself for the record and bring up your concern. You have 3 minutes.
Aloha, my name is Nani Brown. I come from the Wahiwa community. I just came here to introduce myself and also express our concerns over the Wahiwa pedestrian bridge. So, we are all District 17, and in 2020, they dispersed some surveys. So I'm not sure how many people in Mililani got those surveys, but it was 4,165 surveys. Of those surveys, 345 were returned. And of those surveys, only 36% answered in the affirmative that they might use the Wahiwa pedestrian bridge. According to the HDOT website, their own numbers, that's where I got this from, they considered 36% of 345 resounding support. And just to be clear, that equals 124 people. So of our community of greater than 50,000, 124 people said yes to this bridge, and we are on the hook for $50 million. And, if you want to get even mathier with that, that means that we are paying over $400,000 per person that may or may not use that bridge. So I am here to announce that, of course, I am against the bridge. I intend to fight this bridge all the way. And then I also intend to look into legislation regarding definitely limiting any more data centers that are going in our community. As you guys may have heard, that we also have another big one that has broke ground. So mahalo.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Are there any other community members who would like to come forward on matters not agendized for this community and this agenda? Okay, seeing and hearing none, on to board business, I'm going to recognize our board secretary, Sabrina Gustafson, for the approval of Wednesday, May 27th regular meeting.
The minutes for our Wednesday, May 27th, 2026 regular meeting were sent out with this meeting's agenda. I've received no comments. I'm welcome to take any comments or corrections from the floor. If not, I move to approve.
Braxton for the vote.
All right. When I call your name, please say yes, no, or abstain.
Hold on, Braxton.
Oh.
I believe Rachel previously just said since there were no questions or amendments and the minutes are approved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Motion is passed. The minutes are approved.
Okay, wait, so
And
hold on.
So
Are there any concerns, questions, or amendments to the motion and the minutes? All right, seeing that there are none, the minutes are approved.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
No worries. First time, it's good. Okay, next up, we're gonna bring up the resolution regarding the All-American City sign. Members, I emailed this out to you. I'd like to first offer a motion on this resolution and give some background. So I would like to move that the board adopt this resolution requesting the commemoration and display of Mililani's 1986 All-America City designation on the Mililani Town Association sign wall at Kamehameha Highway and Lani'Kuhana Avenue. That is my motion. Is there a second? Seconded by, thank you. Okay, we're in discussion. Okay, seconded by Marilyn Lee. Thank you, Anne. We're in discussion. I would like to explain, I know you all probably read my email, I hope so. I'd like to explain the resolution. We had this conversation at the May meeting. There was some significant concerns, and I just want to mahalo the board members that brought this up. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up this email here. That brought up the various concerns regarding sewer, the correct identification of signage, potential trademarking concerns with the National Civic League. Am I missing anything? No, I don't think so. Okay, so I want to thank Marilyn Lee, who sent all of the emails that she had with the general manager over the course of about 5 years of MTA. And I want to just mahalo the members to move this resolution from the May meeting to this meeting so that we could just kind of fine tune the resolution. So essentially, as Marilyn shared at our last meeting, the history here of the All-America City designation from 1986, as Mr. Robert here brought up earlier tonight, really traces back to community collaboration between Neighborhood Board 25, the various elected officials in the 80s, as well as Mililani Town Association. And yes, I recognize that that is our homeowner association. But these groups united, as well as our own Mililani residents, because this intent was to protect the public health and safety of Mililani residents following the discovery of agricultural pesticides at that time. They're listed in the resolution, members, in the fourth whereas clause. And essentially, these agricultural pesticides were in Mililani's community drinking water supply. So that's the history here. And I know a lot of us are very familiar with that history. So we had the neighborhood board. So back then, the neighborhood board 25, as well as the HOA, the elected officials and the Mililani residents, hooyed together to work on this, as Marilyn explained in the May meeting. And they were able to fix it, right? They worked with Honolulu Board of Water Supply. Honolulu Board of Water Supply today showed the water quality report in their meeting. And so this is a long-term practice. And we have rid the pesticides in Mililani's drinking water back then. Because of this collaboration and unification, this was a historic achievement for the Mililani town, and the National Civic League recognized that. And they did so by declaring Mililani in 1986 an all-America city. And again, going back to the collaboration and unity of these groups of our elected officials, the neighborhood board and the HOA, they work together on this unique and historical award. And it is the only award within the entire state of Hawaii. This is the only community that received that recognition, and it's extremely noteworthy. That designation was inscribed at the Mililani Town Association's sign walls. Altogether, throughout the course of history, from the 1986 to present, there are a total of 3 sign walls altogether, right? And they happen at different times. One was at Kamehameha Highway, Lani-Kohana Avenue. That's the northeast corner. So for folks, that's Mauka side, right? At Kamehameha Highway and Lani-Kohana. In the resolution, I cite the tax map key that we got from the city and county of Honolulu on that. That area is owned and maintained by the Mililani Town Association. A second sign was also erected at Kamehameha Highway and Kuahilani Avenue. That is also the northeast corner. So that's kind of the Kipapa McDonald's, if you will. That's the Mauka side. And it is owned and operated. That land is owned and operated. That sign is owned and operated by the Mililani Town Association. TMK is included in the resolution for your review, also provided by the city and county of Honolulu. The third sign wall is located along Mehiula Parkway near the H2 freeway entrance into Mililani town. So that is when you're coming off of H2, that's on the eastern side coming into Mililani. That tax map key is cited. I'm going to spare everyone by not reading it. And it is owned and operated by the Mililani Town Association, since these questions came up in the previous May meeting. The history here is, and this is where there was some discrepancy. One of the original signs that was located at Kamehameha Highway and Lani-Kohana Avenue, the Mauka northeast corner, that was removed by the Mililani Town Association, since they owned and maintained and operated it. That was removed because they were doing landscape improvements that was undertaken by them. When they removed the sign, it was determined that an underground stormwater drainage system existed underneath that sign wall, beneath that original location. And so that was non-conforming to the city and county of Honolulu permits. And so they were not able to re-erect the sign on the Mauka side of Kam Highway and Lani-Kohana Avenue. So they could not get new permits to rebuild that sign, reconstruct the sign wall at that specific sign on the Mauka side of that intersection. So what the Mililani Town Association did was they constructed a new sign wall, and that exists to present day. That is on the Makai side, if you will, of the Kam Highway Lani-Kohana intersection. A tax map key parcel ID is provided in the resolution for clarity. And that new sign wall only has the Mililani Town Association logo as well as the word Mililani. So it does not include, quote, 1986 All-America City. So, but MTA did obtain the necessary permits from the city and county of Honolulu to erect that sign wall. And so that means because they got those permits in that location at that intersection across the street from the original site, it would not interfere with any existing underground stormwater drainage system. There is no stormwater drainage system below that sign. So going back to the original intent from Maryland's resolution in May, is all she's asking for is 1986 All-American City language on that sign. And I understand that there were some concerns about incorporating that wording specifically. So if you look on the resolution in the first resolved, you'll notice that I put, and sorry, I'm just trying to fix all of this since there was some concerns here. So I added language where in the resolve, the Mililani-Waipi'o Neighborhood Board 25 recommends MTA, since they erected the sign, took the sign down, erected one new sign, this is on their land, and they maintain it, to continue this collaborative history between our board and their association to commemorate Mililani's historic achievement by incorporating the wording, quote, 1986 All-American City, And here's what I want to emphasize, or similar language, consistent with the National Civic League guidelines onto Mililani Town Association sidewall located at the northwest corner of Kamehameha Highway and Lanikohana Avenue, which is tax map key 9407-508-3000. Be it further resolved that restoring this commemorative recognition at one of Mililani's principal gateways will promote continued community awareness, civic pride, unity, and collaboration, while ensuring that Mililani's unique distinction as Hawaii's only all-America city remains prominently displayed and visible to residents and visitors alike. Be it so ordered that copies of this resolution be transmitted to the mayor of the city and county of Honolulu, the director of DPP, our Honolulu City Council member representing Mililani, the board of directors of the Mililani Town Association, and the general manager. So that is the discussion. Thank you. We've already had a motion and a second. That is the opening of discussion. Is there any additional discussion, members? Please raise your hand. No? Oh, had plenty discussion last month. No discussion. Okay. Yes, Ed.
Okay.
Sorry. Is somebody? Oh, Karumi. Go ahead. Karumi followed by Ed and then closing with Marilyn. Go ahead, Karumi.
I really appreciate this resolution because I sat on the neighborhood board back in 1986 when Sam Lee was the chair. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Sam Lee was very instrumental in making this happen for our community. And it was a big thing. And I think that's why we should keep that in mind, and it should be restored as such to remind people of the importance back at that point in time where it was such a wonderful accomplishment of a community. And we should always have that, even if it's in writing, so people will reflect and say, oh, I wonder what happened back then, and back then in 1986. And then it becomes researchable, but it will remind people, and that's the importance of it. It was a great thing back then for our neighborhood board. And I'm very proud to say that I was on the board at that point in time, and I know how that feels.
Mahalo, Karumi. Thank you. Ed, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Chair Bass and Marilyn for putting this history together and educating everybody who does not know the history of what happened and how this took place. You heard it tonight from Robert in our audience here. I looked at him when he said that, and it reflects the community pride since 1986, and I applaud him for remembering.
Further discussion, Dennis?
I just want to say that I make a turn coming up from Kipapa Gulch, and that position is going to be a lot more visible than where it was before on the right side, because it'll be very visible. Even coming off the freeway by the H2, you miss it a lot of times. But where it's going to be, I think, is a perfect place to have it. So I'm all in favor of that.
Mahalo, Dennis. Any further discussion?
Rodney?
Marilyn. I don't see Rodney's hand up. Is Rodney's hand up? Oh, Rodney, I see your hand up. Go ahead, Rodney.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. I have a concern. My concern is, first of all, can you confirm who you spoke with at MTA, the city and county, and the National Civic League? I'm concerned that the neighborhood board's role is to serve as an advisory body on government matters and to provide recommendations to government agencies and elected officials. In this case, the issue involves a private entity, MTA, that has already considered the matter and determined what it believes to be in the best interest of the homeowners. It is unclear why the neighborhood board should be intervening into the internal decisions of a private organization. So
Thank you, Roger.
why is it going to the city?
Okay. I'm happy to address those questions. I believe the questions were posed to the general manager of MTA, as well as for DPP to answer that question. I'm so sorry. I didn't get the person's name, but I was able to get those tax map keys from their public online GIS listserv. So that is with that. And no, I didn't. I don't have my records on my conversation with the National Civics League right now. I'm so sorry I wasn't prepared for that, Rodney. But I can follow up to you there. In terms of your concern, you're absolutely, I understand your concern. This has been, this isn't, yeah, I'm trying, yeah, I know that there were some concerns of, uh, opposition between the neighborhood board and MTA on this. And from my standpoint, that's not what I'm thinking this is. In terms of the signage and in terms of the history of the sign and the language, it was collaborative between these two leading community organizations, both Neighborhood 25 and the Board 25, as well as our Homeowners Association, MTA. So yes, you're absolutely right. MTA is a private entity, but our neighborhood board, yes, we are an advisory government body, but we advise based off of the concerns of our community. We've had issues like this before, especially with Mililani Town Center, when there are issues of left turns and traffic signage and concerns where no, we cannot mandate Mililani Town Center with what they can do. It is a private entity that owns and maintains their own property, just like any other private property. But this is coming from at least for me, and I'll speak for myself as I tried to address the concerns of the board from the discussion in May. The intent here is to focus on the unity and the collaboration and success of the Mililani community and just increase that awareness. That's my intent as I revise the original resolution to this option.
Can I have a follow-up question?
Go ahead.
Who are we looking to pay for this? MTA, which is on the homeowners?
So as I explained throughout the conversation, the TMKs are owned and operated by MTA. The sign walls are owned and operated by MTA. And yeah, it would be a responsibility of MTA. This is just a request. And I'm going to remind everyone in this resolution, the title is Requesting the Commemoration and Display of Mililani's 1986 All-American City designation on the MTA sign wall at that Kamehameha Highway and Laniquahana Avenue. That is the title of the resolution. And also in the we're not forcing MTA whatsoever. We don't have the legal authority to force MTA. We're saying resolve that our neighborhood board recommends MTA. Now, this is the resolution as drafted. We're not urging, we're not forcing, we don't have that authority. So we're recommending that MTA continue the collaborative history between our board and theirs to commemorate this achievement by putting this wording or similar consistent with the NCL on that sign wall. MTA as a private entity can decide not to listen to this resolution because we do not have any mandating authority over them. However, the community concern has been brought up by a member of this board, as well as some residents here and other members of this board. And I think that I appreciate the debate, and I think that we should continue any debate if there's additional concerns. But I would like to, we should vote on this because we've already tabled it by 1 month. Is there any additional discussion?
Yeah. Me.
Oh, okay. Anne, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify something. If you mean by private, a for-profit private organization, it is not. This is a C5014. It says social welfare organization operating in Mililani. And social nonprofits in my own condo association comes under condominium law regime within the state. So this is a quasi-governmental organization. So the idea that they're not answerable to anyone but those people in the town association is false. Because they're a social welfare organization, they're answerable to all of us. I just wanted to clarify that.
Mahalo. Any further discussion, members? Yes, Marilyn.
I just, Madam Chair, just want to thank you for your work on the amendments to the resolution. Excuse me. And also for the positive comments from board members. This is part of the history of Mililani. And I think many people who serve on the MTA board do agree that this is an important issue. And hopefully we can work together to get this resolved finally. Thank you.
Mahalo. I believe that concludes discussion. Okay, I'm not seeing any more hands. All right, Braxton, let's go ahead with a roll call vote on that. And yeah, members, let's take it to a vote. Thank you.
Great. Roll call vote for the reinstallation of the All America City sign. Start with when I call your name, please say yes, no, or abstain. Starting off with Rudy.
Yes.
Catherine.
Aye.
Elise. Elise is not here. Ken.
Yes.
Thank you. Ed. Anne.
Yes.
Sabrina. Josie.
Abstain.
Sorry, was that abstain?
Yes, let's abstain.
Okay, thank you. Kudumi.
Yes.
Dennis. Catherine.
Yes.
Darsha.
Yes.
Marilyn.
Yes.
Trevor.
Aye.
Alex. Rodney.
No.
Skylar. Martina.
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
Emmo.
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes.
Sharon. All right, right here. And then last but not least, Danielle.
Yes.
So with a total of 17 yeses, 2 noes, and 1 abstain, the motion has been adopted.
Thank you, members, and mahalo, Member Lee, for providing the original intent of this resolution. Okay, it is 8:34. We're going to move on to reports of chairs and board committees. Folks, I have exciting news on this. Fresh today, got an email. We're going to go into my chair's report here. I got an email from Council Member Matt Wire, and I really want to mahalo him. At the May meeting last month, there was some discussion, and I appreciate the conversation, where some Mililani-Waipi'o, Coal Ridge, Waikele residents, and even some Wahiawa residents, they participate in an organization called Walk with a Dog. And that organization walks at Central Oahu Regional Park mostly every Saturday. And it's a range in terms of about, it could be 30 on one Saturday, 70 on another Saturday. So let's just say, 30 to 70, but a lot of it is senior citizens, but you start seeing, folks, in 50, see some teenagers. And really this is the idea of they walk every Saturday morning at Central Wahoo Regional Park. They work with Dr. Teresa Lee, and who's a well-known doctor in Mililani-Waipi'o. And this is a healthy way for them to get some fresh air, have some community, camaraderie, right? We can, address some of the loneliness pandemic, if you will, where you can go out, be healthy, and walk around in a Central Wahoo Regional Park. It came to our board's attention. Dr. Wee contacted me after the Kona low, so I think it was about April, and quite a few Mililani residents contacted me as well, where the city and county of Honolulu, this organization has been walking around Corp for 10 years. They had their 10-year anniversary earlier this year. And at around January, city and county, the Department of Parks and Recreation saw that there were so many people in this organization that they contacted Dr. Wee, the leader of the organization, and started to charge Dr. Wee and this organization to walk around on these Saturdays. And it was a bit controversial. They had a very high permit fee, and the conversation there was increased traffic in Central Wahoo Regional Park, that there was sometimes you couldn't even park there. So that was where DPR was coming from. And this small nonprofit organization of community members were upset, to say the least, that they were going to get charged to walk in a city park. And just some clarification, apparently Central Wahoo Regional Park was authorized by the Honolulu City Council to charge permit fees because it's one of their revenue generating parks within the city and county of Honolulu. So that is largely to, let's see, tennis championships, pickleball championships, so that those resources. And when we learned this, it just sounded very strange. And I believe Dr. Wee negotiated directly with DPR and was able to bring it rate down to $20 every Saturday. But that, if you're going every Saturday for the whole year, 52 weeks, that's gonna rack up to a few thousand. And so she contacted us because this never actually happened in the 10 years of the history of the organization. So I went out there, I walked with them. They're good folks, and they just want to walk and keep their organization going. And they just thought it was a little silly to pay to walk in a city park. And I just want to mahalo. That Central Wahoo Regional Park falls under the legislative jurisdiction of City Council Member Matt Wire. He represents that physical location. So I reached out to him. I explained to him the frustration of our general community members about this. And I appreciate the conversation that we had here at the May meeting. And it sounded like DPR was gonna still just do the charge, $20 every Saturday. But as of today, the city and county DPR contacted Council Member Wire, and Council Member Wire contacted myself and Dr. Wee to say that the program fees have been waived through the end of 2026. And this group will be able to request this annual waiver, and it will be submitted annually. And he just wanted to thank our board for that work and just elevating this issue, because this is just kind of silly, right? And it's at Patsy T. Mink Park too, the woman who fought for equality and access, right? So a little bit ironic, but I just, shout out to Councilmember Wire and his team. They did an amazing job. And this news, Dr. Wee received this news today, and she was elated. And I already received communication from our Mililani residents, Waipi'o residents, and Coal Ridge residents who heard that neighborhood board and Councilmember Wire, and we were able to get it done. So no more paying to go to the park to go walk. But that is the conclusion of my report. It's exciting. It's a good win, and congratulations to our community. Are there any questions?
Does she know?
Yes, she knows, yes. Any other questions?
Just a
Okay.
comment.
Yes.
I walked with Dr. E for over 5 years
Yeah,
and I'm still healthy.
it's a good program. So if you're, go down, it's 8 a.m. on Saturday.
That's
Yeah.
early time. It's real early though.
Yeah, it's really early. I agree. I went down there. You gotta, yeah. So if you see folks in green shirts and blue shirts says walk with the doc at 8 a.m. at Corp, that's them. So, just give them a shaka and, they won the day this time. Okay, that completes my report and thank you members for your support on that. Let's continue the reports of chairs and board committees. I want to, Kato Izawa, is there a report for community partnerships and outreach?
No report, Chair.
Okay, no report. Moving on to Josie Ka'anehe for Community Recognition and Service Awards. Any report?
No report. I wasn't contacted.
Okay, no report. Moving on to Ken Inouye and Skylar Ross for Community Maintenance and Walk Audit. Any report?
We created a QR code that we're hoping to put on our social media sites. Hopefully it'll go up next month, and then hopefully people can just start scanning the QR code rather than typing in the entire form. So working with our Kato Zawa so we can get it nice and pretty because we're not really good at doing that aspect. But I can create a QR code. Everything after that, it's all her thing.
Gotta make it pretty. Okay. Any questions for the report? Seeing and hearing none. Okay, planning, zoning, sustainable development, climate resilience. Trevor, any report?
No report this month.
No report. Ed Flores, transportation and Oahu MPO. Any report?
Waihewa bound, the lane is closed from 8:30 to 3. Be careful out there. It's very slow. I caught it this morning. They're doing scaffolding work on the pedestrian bridge. Also, you might have seen it in the headline today. I picked this up the other day. There is a transit fee increase beginning July 1st. Cash fare, $3.25, Holo card. So all the prices, you'll find them on www.bus.org/fare, and it will point to you all the fare increases.
Thank you, Ed. Members, are there any questions? Member Ross?
Next time we have our meeting, if there's a way that you could give us some type of briefing on the Wahiwa pedestrian bridge and how it may affect us. Thank you.
Further questions for Transportation Chair? You have a question? Sorry, we hybrid.
Aloha, Nani Brown again. Just also for your guys' awareness, in Wahiwa, they are repaving California. So if you have any plans of trying to get through town, good luck with that. California Avenue is our main thoroughfare and it is tore up. And depending on the time of day, it's either only out or only in, but at one point they had all the lanes closed. It was a real mess. Okay.
I just have one question. I have an appointment very early tomorrow at Lilipo High School.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you the way.
Can I get in or do I have to go up Kilani and go around?
I would, so you can, if you make the first right, by the, the rated building. Make the first right, go all the way up to the stop sign, go left. You're gonna come out a little bit above the 7-Eleven. From there, you should still be able to make a right.
Okay, got
And
it.
then you can grab it, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
We're still in transportation and Oahu MPO. Any further questions for Transportation Chair Ed Flores? Okay, seeing and hearing none. We'll move on to Dennis Kim for is there a report for Military Affairs and Emergency Management?
Yes, almost everything we've been talking about is emergency preparedness and the results of that. So I just want to, as far as, military side, the RIMPAC you're talking about, if you are able to, you probably have a good opportunity to check with some of the military people around the military bases. We've been having a lot of conversation with some of the people there. So just, just support the military. And happy 250th birthday.
Any questions for Dennis? In his report, hearing none. Okay. Darsha, is there a report for health, houselessness, and human services?
Yes, just wanted to give an update for the point in time count for 2026. So they did this on January 25th of this year, and the numbers have come out. Overall, there was a very small decrease in the number of houseless individuals that were counted, and that was mostly because the neighbor island numbers dropped, while Oahu did have a small increase. For most of the people who were counted, they were sheltered, so that was 51%. But about half still is unsheltered, houseless people. They did see a really big increase in the numbers of families who were experiencing houselessness. That has gone up by about 20%. And I'm going to drop the full report into the chat so everybody can look over those numbers. Any questions?
Thank you, Darsha. Question, comment, Marilyn?
Since you were in charge of health, Darsha, I just wanted to say that last night I spent 2 hours in the emergency room at Wahiwa, and many of us, of course, were saddened when Wahiwa became part of Queens. But I'll tell you, the treatment that I received in the emergency room last night was first class. I worked at the hospital for 25 years, and I know what it used to be like. And it was care, but it wasn't the care that I received last night. Dr. Ryan was excellent, and I think no one on this board could hesitate to go there for care. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, Darsha. Are there any further questions for Darsha in her report? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Darsha. And Sabrina, your report on Parks and Recreation.
The NCO sent out an email regarding a request from DPR to take a survey. The survey is about determining the goals and priorities for City and County of Honolulu parks, as well as the programs that they're going to be offering. The link to the document is in our Google Drive, but you can take the survey up until June 29th at 9 a.m. Website for the survey is B as in boy, I, T as in Tom, period, LY/park goals. I also did drop it in our chat for those people online earlier this evening.
Thank you, Sabrina. Members, are there any questions for Sabrina? Skylar?
Did our new dog-friendly parks signs get updated yet, or are we still waiting on the Parks and Recreation?
Parks and Recreation are still updating signs even from our first request. So they're still pending.
Additional questions for Sabrina? Okay, seeing none. And last but not least, Marilyn, for your education report.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. As you all know, excuse me, school is closed right now, but there is summer activity going on. I reported last month. I would like to remind people that some of the schools, in particular, Kipapa Elementary School here in Mililani, which is a Title I school, still will receive your donations of either school supplies themselves or money. And they will have the school supply distribution on July 16th from 3 to 5 at the school. So you can just walk over there and help out, deliver your donation, or, and see what it's like when the parents and the children come in and they receive these school supplies that sometimes are quite a bit of money for these families. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Members of the board, are there any questions for Marilyn and her report? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Marilyn. Okay, we're going to move on. It's to the elected officials report. It is 8:49. We did spend 35 minutes on the temporary debris site. So members, let's be aware of our timing. I'd like to recognize if there is Nestor Garcia here for Congressman Case's office online. Don't see him. Okay. We're going to move on to Tony Schwartz, who is representing Governor Josh Green. Come on down, Tony.
Okay, I will try to go quick because I know we're running a little later, but there were a lot of questions last time, so I'm going to try to get through them all as quick as I can. There was also a question that came in after I left, but it was emailed to me that I guess was asked to the City and County Department of Transportation Services having to do with the red light camera program. And I guess it was mentioned that the Hawaii DOT actually runs that program. So I did ask DOT about that. The first question I had received was, what's the cost of the red light cameras? And they said the annual cost per camera is $102,000. The second question was, could DTS look into installing a red light camera near the old Ruby Tuesdays light going up Me'ehula or work with state DOT to have one installed because of people running through the red light over there? And they said that for clarity and background, this is a pilot project. And once the pilot project ends, the new contract will only cover state jurisdiction. For new intersection selection, DOT looks at crash history. So intersections with 9 or more major crashes in a 5-year period. They said they don't see any intersections in Mililani on the list right now. And I did, for reference, handed out the top 25 on DOT's current list, which I believe most of the board members should have. And they wanted to note that major crash means it involves death, serious injury, or property damage above $3,000. So as you can see on the list, it doesn't look like Mililani is one of the top ones for a red light camera at this time. Next thing I had was, I believe, board member Sabrina asked about the median overgrowth and construction signs around Lani Kahana and Kamehameha Highway, and also Lani Kahana Avenue and Kuahalani. So I did pass your concern on to the DOT about the median overgrowth, and they said they will let their maintenance section know. But most areas are on a 5-week cycle for landscaping, so it could just be that it's coming up, but they were going to let them know. They also wanted to mention a bunch of modernization projects that are happening right now, which is why you're seeing a lot of construction signs. They said the traffic signal modernization project happening in the area is over there at Kamehameha Highway and Lani Kahana Avenue intersection is listed as part of the Phase 2C of the DOT's traffic signal modernization project. And it's on track to go out to bid in August of this year. They said these intersections are identified for Phase 4A of the traffic signal modernization project and are expected to go out for bid in August of 2027. That includes Kamehameha Highway at Me'ehula Parkway and Kamehameha at Ka'uka Boulevard. The DOT's traffic signal modernization will replace the signs, signal heads, the poles, masts, arms, controller cabinets, the internal components, and pedestrian push buttons and housing. And the intersections will also be accessible pedestrian signal ready. DOT says Me'ehula and Kuahalani is not in their jurisdiction, because I think there was mention of that street. But they did offer a list of state roads and highways that can be reviewed on their website if any questions come up about any of the roads and highways. And I have a link to it. I don't know if it's going to get posted or not, but it's basically hidot.hawaii.gov/highways. And then you scroll down and you find the Oahu state highways, state roads and highways on their site. You can find it there. They also let me know that DOT is planning a resurfacing through their indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity paving contract on Kamehameha Highway between Ka'uka and the H1 underpass next year. Get ready for that one. And then I think, Ed, you mentioned something about the Lani Kahuna pedestrian overpass or bridge overpass. Yeah, so actually, guess what? It's done. They just said they found out today that they finished it. They removed all of the scaffolding and that spalling of that section has been done. So they were supposed to have lane closures at the end of this week and they won't be doing that now. So good news for that one. Last one was Emil. I think you had asked about Ryan Yamane's resignation and if the governor plans to have him work a different office or ask him to work as administration again. So just to clarify, Ryan Yamane retired from state service. He officially put in his papers and he's done. And that was all I have.
Are there any questions, members of the board, members of the public for the governor's office? Member Ross.
So I just got put onto the Hawaii Local Emergency Planning Committee, the LEPC, and the question we have is the lithium-ion batteries, not the ones that go inside cars, but all the rest of them. It seems like we're Honolulu Fire Department and the Department of Health is having an issue with collection and transportation as of getting them out of the state of Hawaii. I would like to know what the state is doing and how the Department of Health, specifically the Department of Emergency Management and the HEER section of the Department of Health is looking at trying to figure out a mitigation way to take damaged and unusable lithium-ion batteries off of the island and not placed into the landfills or anything else like that, especially with the amount of increases of cell phones, battery backup systems, and all the rest of those types of systems that are coming into Hawaii.
So you mentioned Hawaii DEM, so that's sitting kind of, you mean,
No, Hawaii Department, no, it's not DEM, my bad. Hawaii Local Emergency Planning Committee falls under the Hawaii Department of Health.
okay. So LAPC. So mainly just issues with transporting out of Hawaii, how they're handling it.
And whether or not, with the large collection that we have right now, if we have initiated any new contracts to get them off from all the entire state.
Okay.
Are there any further questions, members of the board, members of the public for the governor's office tonight? Please raise your hand. Okay, seeing none. Thank you so much, Tony. You had so many questions last time. We're giving you off the hook tonight. Okay, next up we have Jocelyn Doan, who is Mayor Blangiardi's representative. She's joining us online. Over to you, Jocelyn.
Aloha, everybody. I'll try to be quick because I know it's kind of late. Just wanted to remind everybody about the city's request for mana'o on the Oahu's first food systems plan, which is due at the end of the month. Additionally, everyone may already know the police commission named David Lazar as the new Honolulu police chief. He's going to be sworn in next week. He got here early last week and has been doing some volunteer work to sort of try to get his feet wet and learn a little bit more about the organization before his official start date. So I got a chance to meet him. That was awesome. His wife's family is actually from Hawaii, from Halawa. So that was interesting for me to learn that they have Hawaii ties. We also recently wished our managing director, Mike Formby, and a hui ho. He had been with the city since Mayor Blangiardi's started his term, and of course had served in different roles in the city. Before that, our former deputy managing director, Krishna Jairam, is the acting managing director. So I think the intention is for him to continue in that space. I also excited to share from our department. We don't always have news from our department for you folks, but we hired a new Honolulu Zoo director. His name is John Barry. He has a very exciting and stellar resume, but related to the zoo, he previously served as the national zoo director. So the DC Zoo, he was the head of the DC Zoo. And he was also the executive director for the Fish and Wildlife Foundation, amongst a lot of other different things, including being the former ambassador to Australia under the Obama administration. He's also worked on a lot of Native Hawaiian issues. So that was super exciting to learn. He's a local hire. A lot of times these positions are, we hire folks from outside of Hawaii, but he's was already living here. He's lived here for 2 years. Him and his partner moved home to Hawaii 2 years ago. So we're super excited about that. There were 2 items that were brought up at the last meeting for us. The first being related to the Skyline Pearl Highland Station parking. One of the members had asked how the new project is different from the previous parking structure that we had concluded we couldn't build. And so basically it's a totally different project. The new project in Hart's fiscal year 27 budget, that's been the subject of media reports that was asked about, is called the Pearl Highlands Transit Center and Ramp. This is not a parking facility. It's unrelated to the 1,600 stall parking garage that was deferred in 2022. It's a bus transit center in Waiava that will serve as a hub and transfer point for passengers traveling from H2 southbound and other areas on bus routes to facilitate connecting to the rail. Solicitation for that project is scheduled to begin in late 2027. And then the $500 million budget is for the total cost, which includes 2 parking facilities at UH West Oahu and East Kapolei Center and East Kapolei Station, and a second station entrance at the Waipahu Transit Center. So seems like it's really different from the previous project. And then I just wanted, I think obviously the Kipapa Elementary School crosswalk is always on everyone's mind. It's always on my mind as the Kipapa graduates. Did May Day in that lawn right there by the fence for many, many years. So, I think we've shared this before, that DTS had conducted a speed survey in the area and had concluded as a result of that, it qualifies for a raised sidewalk. Kipapa is now number 14 instead of 18. I know it's not like, 1 or 2, but it's 4 spots closer to being number 1. From the last time we provided an update, DTS recognizes the concerns. The other locations that are before Kipapa is also within school zones. So I think, we just wanted to make sure we recognize that school zones are a priority. And, the next steps would be go through the design phase before construction can be scheduled. So we're continuing to push them along and remind them that it's something that your board cares about. So I'll continue to do that as much as I can. Mahalo.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn, for your report. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for the mayor's office tonight? Please raise your hand. Okay. Seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much for the report, and thank you for continuing to advocate for Kipapa, Jocelyn. Okay, next up, we have Aaron from Councilmember Val Okimoto's office. Over to you, Aaron, online.
Hi, good evening, Chair, members of the board and public. We do stand on our report today. I had 2 questions I was supposed to answer here. One from, I think, Member Lee. She asked about the council member, and she was working with something with disaster preparedness. I went back through my notes and I saw that that was actually something that she was working with the chair on. They were going to put disaster preparedness hubs in each district, but unfortunately that did not make it through the budget process. Also, Chair Bass asked about the elevator at the park and ride there. There is a provision that is in the budget, so that will be funded for next year. I can take any questions back.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Councilmember Okimoto's office? Kate.
Hi, Aaron. A little bit of a personal point of privilege. I about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I think now, I was the office manager at OER. I'm aware that the budget as it stands, notwithstanding the mayor's line item vetoes that he issued yesterday, would cut 18 positions from OER. I think that's a lot of cutting jobs. It's a lot of unnecessary cutting jobs, especially since the audit that is cited a lot during the budget hearing does not explicitly suggest cutting jobs. I was wondering if Councilmember Okimoto would reconsider voting to cut those jobs.
I'd have to talk to the council member, but I do know that if you do look at the audit, it did say that we're doing about 40% of what the office was geared to do as well. So I think there needs to be a plan there before, moving forward, before, the 20 positions were funded that they asked for. So speaking for the council member, I do believe that she believes that there needs to be a more solid plan behind that that current office's mission.
Are there any further questions for Councilmember Okimoto's office? Members? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much, Aaron, for being here online tonight. Next up, we have Kelly Anaya representing Councilmember Wyer's office online. Go ahead, Kelly.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board. Kelly Anaya from Councilmember Wyer's office. First, I just want to thank Director Babcock. I'm not sure if he's still there, but thank you for providing a very thorough and detailed update regarding the soil testing at the regional park. That was one of my updates that I wanted to provide. Likewise to Chair Bass for covering the great news from DPR. That was also one of the things that I wanted to share, especially because it is good news. Seems like often I don't have good news to share, but thank you for covering that. So with that being said, I don't really have much to report. Other things on our newsletter were just some of the budget highlights. I believe I mentioned those last month though, regarding the VMAC pool money that Councilmember had put in, as well as some other funding for Corps. So yeah, if anyone has any questions for Councilmember, I can take them now. And thank you for making my
Kelly, I
report
was
easy
just
today.
too excited. I was too excited. It was such good
It's
news.
it's okay. I figured so. It's okay.
Okay,
Oh, I'm
members
sorry.
of the
And
board,
I'm
members of the
Board
public,
Member
are there any
Ross. I'm sorry. Were you able to see if the lights were back on? Not yet. This is from like 2 months ago. But
Yeah,
that's
it's not
actually
flashing
a
anymore.
state.
You're not flashing anymore. You're good
It's
to
not
go.
flashing anymore.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, you're
All
good.
right.
Thank you.
Good. Awesome.
Are there any questions for Kelly tonight, members of the board, members of the public? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Mahalo. Next up, we have Trevor representing Senator Michelle Kidani's office. I think you have some news that surprised us all.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, members of the public. My name is Trevor Nagamine. I'm here on behalf of Senator Michelle Kidani tonight. So again, just with the conclusion of the 2026 legislative session, Senator would like to highlight the tax changes that were signed by Governor Green. This was originally set at Bill 3125 and is now Act 24. So this bill maintains income tax cuts that were enacted 2 years ago for families, for joint filers earning less than $350,000, head of household filers earning less than $262,500, and single filers earning less than $175,000. So again, this is part of the legislature's efforts to maintain a balanced budget, and while also protecting, vital programs such as SNAP, MedQuest, and other things that the state provides to families in need. And again, with the conclusion of the 25-26 school year, Senator would like to extend her congratulations to all of the recent graduates from the elementary, middle schools, and high schools in the district. And one last thing, as you are probably aware by now, Senator has submitted her resignation from the Senate to be effective June 30th, which is next Tuesday. And she is looking forward to spending more time with her grandchildren. As such, this will be my last report from Senator's office to this board. And it has been an honor and a privilege to have known her and work with her for these past 18 years. Other than that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Trevor Nagamine, the long-serving speaker on behalf of Senator Michelle Kidani's office? Are there any questions? One second. Wait, 1 second. I'm just going to check if I have any board members right now. Okay, Daniel, go ahead.
Daniel Gabriel here. Why such a late announcement of the retirement? Thank you.
This was a decision that Senator came to after discussing the matter with her family and with her physician. Other than that, I cannot comment any further as to why she chose to resign when she did.
Is there any further questions from the members of the board or the members of the public for Senator Kidani's final report? Seeing, yes, Emil.
So who's gonna be our next senator?
So the process for that is that there will be an appointment by the governor and there will be a special election in November. So essentially, the process is that the Democratic Party of Hawaii, over the next several weeks, will generate a slate of nominees that will be transmitted to the governor, and the governor will select one of the three nominees to serve out the remainder of senator's term through the general election. Parallel to that, there will be a process where the Democratic Party and other political parties in Hawaii will have an opportunity to select a nominee of their choosing to be placed on the ballot for a special election to be held concurrently with the general election in November.
Are there any further questions from members of the board or members of the public for Senator Kidani's office? I'm looking. Okay, that being said, in closing, Trevor, I have received a request from one of our board members requesting a resolution honoring our long-term serving senator. So I will discuss that with the member for a future board meeting. This news caught us all by surprise in our entire community. And as we move forward, hopefully we can, you know, it's not limited to a resolution, but a certificate. And so perhaps Josie could get involved in that. And, you know, Trevor, you've been a member of this board since when?
2014.
2014.
Yes.
And that entire time you've given Senator Michelle Kidani's reports when she was unable to attend.
To this board, yes.
Yes. So I'd like to even expand that recognition on Michelle Kidani to you as well and your community service to this board and the community, and just making sure the conversation between community neighborhood board and senator's office, the back and forth for over a decade. I think we should commemorate that. So I just want to thank you. I know this is tough for you, and just mahalo for your service to our community. And
Thank you,
please
Madam
relay
Chair.
that to the rest of the team employed at Senator's office as well as Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to Senator Dela Cruz's office. I see Charles is online. Over to you, Charles.
Hi, Chair, Board, community members. Charles Miller here from Senator Dela Cruz's office. I'll keep it brief. The FPIN MOA signing ceremony was yesterday at the Hawaii Made Conference at the Sheraton. This is a major milestone because this is connecting public agencies to the private sector to expand share use manufacturing and infrastructure, increase access to equipment and expertise, and strengthen the workforce pipelines. So basically, these partnerships also ensure that local farmers and entrepreneurs have direct pathways to the market. And then there's just two marquee deadlines. June 30th is the list for the governor for the intent to veto must be finalized. And then the veto deadline is July 15th. That's all I have, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Senator Dela Cruz's office tonight? Ed.
Thank you, Charles. We have a guest here this evening who has raised some concerns regarding the pedestrian bridge, Wahiawa.
Yep.
Is there any update that you can provide and I think she may have some questions for you also, but yeah, is there any updates? What's going on there?
Yeah, I can kind of give a brief overview of what the pedestrian bridge is. So the pedestrian bridge would connect Whitmore Village to Waihoa. It'd be on North Kane Street. It would start where the police station is and move across towards where the Central Oahu Food Hub is currently being developed. That's where the location is. There will be a community meeting with more information with DOT stakeholders and the consultants, I believe in August. So that's where more information will come from.
Are there any additional questions from members of the board or members of the public for Senator Dela Cruz's office? Yes, ma'am, please approach the public microphone. Name for the record again.
Aloha, Nani Brown here. So what I'm wondering, first of all, is why is this project moving forward when only 124 people approved it? Second of all, we were all caught by surprise when the state canceled their side of the meeting that was scheduled for June 12th. And we were looking forward to having that community meeting sooner than later, being that grading and other work has already begun taking place. And during my tour and meeting with Kiewit, at this point in time, he was unable to tell me the materials that would be used for the bridge. And we still had a lot of questions regarding the grade. It's an extremely grade, very near to like a plantation style roof going down. And the representative from Kiewit said that it would be impermeable cement walkway, which would again cause runoff. And then also they were still deciding 1 or 2 pilings in the river, which would cause extreme degradation and runoff to our waterways, which we found out during the Kona Low is already a problem that would be exacerbated. And then again, our community has written and adopted resolutions against this bridge. So in that way, I am very puzzled as to why this is even going forward.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll share that I was caught off guard as well with the meeting. Just the DOT stakeholders said that there was an emergency meeting, then they were off island. I don't know if it's a family situation or what it was. That's the email that we got. I will have to look more into the materials of the pedestrian bridge. I'm not 100% sure of what the materials of it's being made out of. So I can follow up either via this meeting or bring it up at the next meeting at the Wahiawa one. But I apologize. I'm not aware of what exactly the building material is at this point.
Okay, and sorry, one more thing. Can you reconcile how 36% is resounding support? And that's according to HDOT's own numbers and words were resounding support, even though the negative is higher than the positive as far as the numbers going for the approval of this project.
So you want me to, what exactly is your question? Do you want me to, I was not a part of
I
the
want you
survey.
to explain to me how that is resounding support when the amount of people that said no was more than the people that said yes.
I can take up your concerns with Senator and staff, but I apologize. I was not in Senator's office when the survey was created and sent out.
Okay.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Ms. Brown. Are there any additional questions, final questions for Senator Dela Cruz's office? Please raise your hand. Okay, seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much, Charles, for your report. Mahalo. Next up, we have a representative from Representative Lauren Matsumoto's office online. Amanda, over to you.
Can you hear me? Testing?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Well, good evening, Chair, members of the board. As you said, I'm Amanda. I'm the office manager for Representative Matsumoto, and I'm here to briefly share highlights from especially the 2026 mid-session community survey. I dropped off that report. I also dropped off a community report and the end of session update for you all to look at. Real quick, the survey gathered 453 responses from Mililani and Mililani-Mauka residents and provides a snapshot of current community concerns. The biggest issues raised were high cost of living, especially housing, daily expenses, public safety concerns, including e-bike use, neighborhood safety, and then efforts to address these include measures such as SB 2552 for housing, and HB 2021 for bike safety. And then residents also highlighted traffic, road conditions, quality of life issues. At the same time, there have been targeted investments in our district, including $3 million for Mililani High School covered courts, $8 million for school facility upgrades, and then $18.6 million for CAM highway improvements, along with funding for the library and Waihiwa Dam. So that's all that I have, but does anyone have any questions for Rep that I can take back?
Thank you, Amanda. Members of the board, members of the audience, are there any questions for Representative Matsumoto's office tonight? Please raise your hand. Okay, seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much, Amanda. Next up, we have Tosa, who's also online, representing Representative Trish LaChica's office. Hey, Tosa.
Hi, Chair Bass, members of the board, members of the community. Tosa Lovendon here on behalf of Representative LaChica, who is currently at NCEL, representing Hawaii to bring back local solutions and clean energy and marine innovation. She's actually having a lot of fun. I've seen her IG, so if you haven't checked it out yet, see what she's doing. It's pretty cool. As we begin, I shared a few links in the chat. I will try to make it real fast. I know we are short on time. We have concluded the 2026 legislative session with several measures focused on supporting our community, including legislation addressing school transportation, school meals, artificial intelligence, safeguards, healthcare protection, and pedestrian safety. I know Representative talked about this last month in her report, so I will stand on that. However, we are no longer in session. We are still working in district year round. Just to mention, over the past month and a half alone, me and her attended 16 graduation ceremonies and May Day celebrations, celebrating both student achievement and teacher awards. It was pretty fun. We got to see Principal Blomberg shave his head for reaching his 94% attendance rate for the year. That was really fun and cool to see him do it in front of the entire school. And I know he was very nervous, so it's cool to see him break those barriers and be a leader for his students. So we also participated recently in a Show Aloha sign waving event in partnership with Honolulu Police Department, Goals Hawaii, and Transforming Communities with Aloha. In light of several tragic events that have happened recently, we wanted to hold this as a reminder to lead with Aloha while staying vigilant. Mahalo to all of those who participated, and we look forward to more positive community support in the future. We also have received an increase in reports of break-ins and attempted break-ins throughout the Mililani district. So we just wanted to remind everyone, please lock your doors, secure your personal belongings. It's really important that if you see something, you say something, call 911. For non-emergency assistance or help navigating government services, our office remains available to support constituents. With that being said, also Mama Carol with Transforming Communities with Aloha will be holding a neighborhood walk this Friday. For more information, please reach out directly to Transforming Communities with Aloha. Finally, to conclude our report, in addition to community engagement, we continue to actively assist with constituent requests across District 37. Just alone in the last few weeks, we were able to assist Mililani Memorial Park Cemetery with the repaving of their road. It happened within 3 weeks, so that was a really quick turnaround. We just received word this morning that the road has been finished, so we're excited to share that. And we were also able to confirm with City and County, thank you for their collaboration, that a new raised crosswalk will be installed on Waipi'o-Uka Street near the Baptist Church. So I'm assuming that's number 18 out of the 18 that Jocelyn was talking about earlier for the raised crosswalks. Hopefully it is. I'm praying. If not, we're still excited to be able to see more crosswalks come up. And that has been a big initiative for Representative LaChica and the district. I know community members are very excited to see more safety within roads and transportation. Outside of that, please do not hesitate to reach out if you have any concerns. Thank you for having me tonight, and I'm available to take back any questions.
Thank you so much, Tosa. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Tosa and Rep. LaChica's office? Please raise your hand. Right. Seeing none. Thank you so much, Tosa. And I see now we have Representative Amy Peruso online. Over to you, Representative.
Aloha, Chair and neighborhood board members. So I wanted to just kind of lay out the work that I've been doing and will be doing over the course of this month. The Stream Management Working Group for the House begins work July 1st. The Restrictive Housing Working Group created by Act 292 that will address how we are housing our incarcerated folks. That will also begin the first week of July. And I will be serving on both of those groups. I am currently also working, as I mentioned before, on legislation, and I'm working with stakeholders to fine-tune legislation to address the issue with the OBGYN issue in our community. We can talk more about that if there are questions. And I'm also working with the Civil Rights Commission because they are developing a report on algorithmic discrimination and how we can protect community members from that through legislation that we'll be introducing next session, but they're developing a report based on a resolution I introduced this last session. I'm also working with colleagues across the country in preparation for CSG and NCSL conferences this month. I serve on NCSL's Education Committee. I serve on CSG's AI Task Force and on NCSL's Agricultural Task Force. So we're really shaping our state legislature's shared agenda with respect to the federal administration, our role in this federalist system, and also learning from colleagues about best practices and good legislation. And I am, I think, available for questions. Yes.
Thank you so much, Representative Peruso. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Representative Peruso tonight? Please raise your hand. Come on down.
Daniel Gabriel, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Board. Rep. Peruso, can you speak more about this OBGYN issue that you brought up?
Sure. You may have noticed in the media over the past couple of months, there was a physician, an OBGYN practitioner, who has served this larger community in central Oahu, ranging from Mililani out to Waialua for 50 years. And it has become clear through reporting that there have been dozens of cases in which he, when he was providing fertility care for his clients, substituted his own gametes, his own genetic material, for that which was supposed to have been used in the process. So as a result, it's basically a form of fraud for which we currently have no legal framework. Other states have kind of led the way in creating a legal framework that prevents and provides accountability against this kind of unethical behavior. And so we're working with those other states, looking at their practices, looking at their frameworks, and seeing what is most appropriate here. And then also with the legislation that we're currently drafting, it includes look back components so that we will also be able to hold that particular physician and those who were complicit in that activity accountable.
Wait, excuse me, sir. There are other people who have questions. Okay, Member Freed, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just have to say I'm horrified. I can't even comment on that. I'm glad you're taking some action. I can't believe we don't have framework in place already, but I guess we don't. So I was interested in Rep. Peruso. I'm sure people don't really totally understand the revolutionary impact that the law that was just passed getting corporate money out of politics in our state, and how it's a landmark that other states are looking at to make sure that corporations, so-called people corporations, do not have undue influence in our politics.
I can explain a little bit. So essentially, the state does control the corporations that are allowed to register in the state to the extent that they allow them to charter in the state. So we are saying in a measure that does not become effective until July 2027. So we do have to protect against rollbacks of the intent of this existing legislation. But what we are saying now in the bill that we just passed, SB 2471, is that no corporations who are chartered in the state of Hawaii will be entitled to engage in political speech. So that means that hopefully we won't see corporate money in our electioneering, which is a huge victory. And it sets a standard for the rest of the country, and it is something that the rest of the country is following closely.
Okay. Thank you so much, Representative Peruso. I see that there is one more question from Daniel. Oh, go ahead. No, please proceed. He's a member of the public, so he can make comments. Yes, go ahead.
Daniel Gabriel again. I just want to thank you, Rep Peruso, because that is one of the most defiling and vile thing I've ever heard. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Are there any further questions from the members of the board or members of the public at this time for Representative Peruso? Please raise your hand. Okay, seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much, Representative, for your report.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Okay, next up, folks, we're in announcements. It's 9:31, so I'll keep it short. Our next board meeting will be Wednesday, July 22nd, here, Mililani High School, H Building, 7 p.m., and it will be hybrid, online and in person. And if you want more of Mililani Neighborhood Board, you can catch the broadcast on Olelo Channel 49 every second Thursday, 9 a.m., Olelo Channel 54 every first and third Saturday at 9 a.m. With that, it is 9:31. This board is adjourned.